good afternoon, everybody. This is Kim Boudreau Smith, broadcasting live from the Bold radio station. This is not one of my everyday normal shows. My shows run Monday evenings and Thursday afternoons. This is something that's very special, and I can say it's very special. I have a very special guest on the show today. This is normally my shows are Lead Her Up As In Women on the Rise, and so we can say Lead Her Up As In Women on the Rise because this my guest today is, she's rising. She's risen. She is just amazing. So again, this is a very special show that we are broadcasting live. And I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to bring on my guest, Lorna Blake. And Lorna, could you please come on down?
Sure thing. Hey, Kim.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to join you today on this very special day or special event on your radio program.
Well, this event is to honor you. You've been honoring a lot of women. And so I want, before we go any further, Lorna, I don't have your bio in front of me, absolutely no disrespect. So I want you to take this moment and introduce yourself to the listeners and tell them a little bit about yourself.
Awesome. I will. Thank you so much. Well, I would describe myself as a visionary devoted to humanitarian service through personal empowerment and leadership, Kim. And as an international empowerment specialist, I have a real gift for helping people of all cultures to connect with their heart and soul. I have a real heart, I would say, for many, many women in particular. See, I've come through a lot of challenges in my childhood and early adult life. And as a result, I feel that my calling is to empower women. My work is not just with women, but a lot of the work that I have been doing over the years has been really geared toward helping to empower women because I've had to empower myself. And so it's through empowering myself that I've come to this awareness that I'm here to help empower women. So to sort of give you a background of who I am and where I come from, I'm Jamaican. I was born in Jamaica to two teenagers. My father actually abandoned me before I was even born. And so my mother was a frightened teen and going through a pregnancy that she didn't even know what was going to happen to her. She decided to hide the pregnancy until her mother, my grandmother, came to her support and told her that, everything would be okay. And that this child, meaning me, would be a light and would help her and be somebody that would make her proud. So it was through my grandma's nurturing that I came to experience a lot of love. My mom really had the best of intentions. She was harsh because she didn't want me to be another teenage statistic. So what she did was she would physically abuse me. Just to say, you need to, these are the ways in which you actually get to be a success, or so she thought. And then when I was 8, she was with a man who became my sexual abuser for 3 years. And because I didn't feel safe, I felt like my mom would punish me. I never told. So I kept that secret for my whole teenage years, actually through my teens. And then at 19, I met a man who became my boyfriend and later my husband, and dealt with more abuse, physical, sexual, psychological, etc. When I was 25, I felt like I'd had enough, and it was 2 days before our wedding anniversary when I packed a suitcase. He was gone. He was out, and I packed a suitcase and left. And that actually was where I got started on the road to personal empowerment. I found an assertiveness training program which helped me to start loving myself and to start actually taking care of myself, putting me first. It's where I began actually to deal with some of the sexual abuse issues and some of the other issues that would have kept me in fear and playing small. So I've been doing this work for years, and it was also around that time I decided to get into social work where I wanted to help people who were dealing with pain, pain around maybe trauma, childhood trauma, or whatever. So that kind of gives you a sense of where I'm coming from and why my heart is so wide open to helping bring healing and transformation to the world. You still there, Kim?
Yes, I am. I'm just so intently listening to you because, first of all, let me say to all the listeners is you and I are involved in an anthology, a book project, and that's how you and I got to become to know one another. And so our friendship and our business partnership here is it's very, very new. So I was so intently listening to you because I know you. It's like, I know, with that energy, I know you, but I don't really know you. So I was listening to that very well. And it was so, Lorna, what I find there is that you were 25 years old. To me, that is young. 25 years old to have the gumption, if you will, to pack your bag and go off on your self-loving journey. Gosh, I mean, I didn't start that journey until my upper 40s.
Yeah. You know what's fascinating about that? I'll tell you. I believe that everybody comes into our lives for reasons that we have no idea about. And it's interesting. I can acknowledge that my ex-husband has been part of my growth and evolution and transformation because I'm able to see that from a higher perspective. What I will also share is that his sister actually got me to start addressing my sexual abuse issues while I was with him. And the way she did that, she didn't know she was doing this, Kim. She brought a book called Women Who Love Too Much. I don't know if you've ever heard of that one.
Yes.
And so she came visiting. She was visiting I was living in Canada at the time. And she came visiting from the US. And she said, I brought you this book and I love to read. So I got right into the book. And it was through reading the book I came to realize that, oh my God, my sexual abuse issues were troubling to my life and to my relationship. And, it was impacting me on so many levels. But I realized that there was a level of unhappiness and you could say discomfort and I was dealing with depression and all kinds of things, but I didn't know, I couldn't get to the bottom of it, Kim. And it was through reading that book that I came to realize that I needed to address those issues. And so in the process of addressing it, I started seeing a counselor. I was still living with him. And what it did was it exacerbated a lot of the stuff, our issues. So it escalated, the violence escalated between us, the fighting escalated, a lot of things escalated. And I called a women's helpline, thank God for those. And they said to me, well, it's not going to get any better. You need to leave. But I was also very religious. I was part of a community and I felt that marriage was for life. And I really wanted things to work. So I tried harder to make things work. And the harder I tried, the worse it got. And so I had called the line several times. And then they said to me, well, you're going to have to make a decision you need to tell somebody in your community or in your circle. And so I confided in a woman in my church community. And she was the one who actually said to me, well, if you're serious about leaving, then I can have my husband pick you up. And so we set up a time and a day that I was going to leave. And I knew that he was going to be out that time. And it was scary as heck. That's the best way to put it. It was scary to the point where I can't even tell you how I was shaking. And even after I got to this lady's place, after her husband picked me up and drove me to her place, and I had this room, I was beside myself because I grew up with this sense of, marriage is for life, and I was planning to stick it out. And so there was a lot of guilt. There was a lot of second guessing myself. Did I do the right thing? Just a whole bunch of stuff. Yep. Long story anyways. But at the end of the day, I decided that I was going to have to make myself a priority. And that's where the journey began. Difficult dark nights of the soul. Lots and lots of them. So that was where the journey started.
Lorna, I hear you saying this, and I'm listening to you, and I'm like, I'm getting a stomachache. Just from that fear of not even. And I don't mean this to diminish what you're saying or any disrespect, but not even just from the standpoint of that was pounded into you that marriage is forever, marriage is forever, marriage is forever, marriage is forever. It's not even just that, but I mean that's your home. That's your home. We go, that's our home. Our home, we feel, is the roof up over our head. It's safety and all that. And here you're like leaving. You've got this man coming to get you. You're going to their home. I mean, I'm like, my stomach was, I'm just sitting here listening to you. I'm like, oh my God, I felt like I was right there with you many, many years ago in my stomach. And it's like, I can understand
you're
why a lot
into the energy. That's a lot of where I was feeling it. In my solar plexus and in my abdomen.
Yes. And Lorna, I mean, we all are faced with fears, and boy, there's nothing like that warm, comfy blanket that takes us back into the old patterns and habits. I can only imagine, like when you said you were second guessing yourself, to say, oh my God, take me back to my home. I cannot do this. I mean, that fear, where we go back and, it's that, stepping out of that comfort zone. And it's like literally putting yourself out there on that tree branch, wondering if that tree branch is going to hold you or not,
You're so right about that, Kim. That was exactly what was going on. And so here I was. I felt like, I knew this lady as a Bible worker in my church community. And here I was, you could say, putting myself in their good graces. And the wheels started turning. What am I going to do? Because what had happened was I had quit my job. My ex-husband at the time, or my husband at the time, had started a business that he asked me to quit my job and work with him in. And so I had left. I had no money. I had nothing really except that suitcase with a couple of pieces of clothing in it. So I started thinking, well, what am I going to do? How am I going to survive? I can't actually stay here. This isn't my home. And so immediately I got to what do you call an employment agency within, I guess that was the weekend, or it was around the holidays, actually. It was just after Christmas. And so within a couple of days, I got to an employment agency. And basically what I got told was that whatever it was that I was dealing with in terms of my personal issues, it was affecting my self-esteem. So I needed to actually work on that. That was what got me to the Women's Center to get started with the assertiveness training program. But through doing that assertiveness training program, which was the start of personal development for me, within 6 weeks, I went from zero, having nothing, to getting a full-time job, right, in a really great company with great benefits. I got an apartment. I rented an apartment through the landlord that was the landlord of the place I had previously rented with my ex-husband. I started living. I started traveling. I started doing things that felt good and felt empowering to me. And that got me on the journey, you could say on the journey to freedom. It was the beginning steps, but I can't even begin to tell you what that meant, that leap of faith of having left with the suitcase, no money, nothing, feeling like I'm a beggar to these people, being beholden to them, and then stepping out, finding a job, finding my footing, and getting started all over again in 6 weeks. It was incredible.
Yeah, boy, that's a fast turnaround time, by the way, 6 weeks. And still at a very young age. I mean, 25 is still, that's still young. Thank you, Lorna, so much for sharing that. And I'm going to take a different direction here. Yeah. You have been honoring women this past week, and I'm one that you have been honoring. So I want you to talk about this, this awards and these interviews and everything that you're doing, because you know what I've said to you behind the scenes there, Lorna. This is growing to be something beautifully huge, and I'm in awe, and I'm very grateful. First of all, that you asked me to be one that you honored, and two, that you're doing this.
Oh, thank you, Kim. I see you as a light. You know, even though we haven't known each other for a very long time, but I could feel you. I sensed your energy. I felt that you're a woman who has done a lot for women. I felt your leadership, and your encouragement and support were such that I felt guided to honor you. So I'm grateful for the
Thank you.
opportunity to talk about this Women's Empowerment Leadership Award. Now, I want to take us back to, I would say, 2010. 2010 was actually the first year that I had done a women's empowerment, an Empowered Women telesummit series. And I did that because at the time I was getting started in coaching, and that I had done that 2 years prior. But one of my coaches said to me that given that it's part of my mission and purpose to work with women, that she felt it was a good idea for me to start doing a series of interviews where I would get women and start asking them questions about the different areas of their lives, whether it's in health and wellness or finances or what have you. So I did this 2 years in a row, Kim, and what a blast. It was incredible. It was an amazing opportunity to get to know women at various different levels. So it was twofold. It was getting to know these women, interviewing them, and also then inspiring the rest of the women to become, to become more empowered in their lives. But I lost, you could say, I lost direction or motivation after doing it 2 years in a row. And I think what it is, as I would describe it as stepping forward into growth. And this comes from one of my former coaches and mentors. And she says, sometimes we step forward into growth. It's better to step forward into growth, she says, than to step back into safety. Her name is Peggy McCall. Don't know if you're aware of her, but she was really, really instrumental in me getting started. So I stepped forward into growth to do this. And then 2011, after having done that, I even went on and did an International Women's Week. It was so powerful and so impactful, but somehow I stepped back into safety. I started shrinking myself again, maybe feeling that, well, I don't know if I made that much impact, despite all the compliments and all the many lives that were touched and people from many different countries that were involved and women leaders and everybody saying, oh my God, this is so incredible. This is so great. I somehow didn't feel deserving enough to keep doing this, Kim. So I stopped. And I actually felt like there was something missing. When you're born to do something and you're not doing it, you can relate to that, right?
Yes.
You're born to. It's like a fish being like a fish that was born to swim and he's no longer in the water. It's like being a fish out of water.
Yeah,
or an eagle that was. Sorry, Kim, go ahead.
Exactly. No, I'm laughing at you. The fish out of water. Yes.
Yeah, I'm a water sign, so I relate to that. But I recognize I'm also an eagle. And so you're an eagle and you're not soaring, you're being among the chickens. Like, how does that work? Right? So it's the idea that I knew for the 2 years that I did nothing else or just sat with it. I was like, I just felt out of sorts, but I wasn't even thinking, well, what is the issue? What am I not doing? And then early one morning, it was at the end of February or beginning of March, I got this download, which basically said, you need to get up and get busy. You need to start empowering women again, and you need to do an awards summit. And I was like, wow, empowered women again? I'm actually going to pick it up again. That was so fascinating to me. And, I sat with it, and then I started to get the names of the women. What was fascinating and uncanny about this, Kim, as I started working on it, one day I was sitting down working on stuff, and my husband, so I have a new husband. My life is night and day, totally different, totally opposite to what I had before. Great husband, supportive of all of the things I'm doing and with me all the time in every way. And so here I am in Panama now, so I'm no longer in Canada. And he was in the bedroom, and there's some trees just opposite the bedroom window, and there was a woodpecker that was pecking at the tree. And he called me and he said, whatever it is that you're doing, you need to keep doing. And I go, oh, really? He said, come and check out this woodpecker. I hear a helicopter go overhead. So I said, okay, let me come and check. And so after I went back, I was actually working on the Empowered Women Award Summit. I went back and I sat, and something said, do a research to see what woodpeckers actually mean. And what came up for me was, there's a project that you're working on that you need to breathe new life into by giving it a new name, by reinventing and starting again. And I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is it. So I started getting involved. I started getting women interested. And as I started getting word out, it was like, yeah, women were like, wow. It's like they were just waiting for me to say it, Kim. It was just like, it was so incredible to me. And every step of the way, I've had guidance and have put things in place, and it's become a reality. You're one of the women, and I am, and it's just taken on a life of its own. Let's just say that. It's taken on a life of its own.
Well, I'm excited to see what more of a life of its own that as it grows, because boy, I have some visions. Lorna, when the first time you and I spoke about it, and you remember our conversation, I'm like, oh, and I see the posts, and I've been sharing some posts and for around this, and every time I do that, I just, the vision that I get for this is huge. I mean, I'll tell you, Lorna, rest up, because the vision that I'm getting from this is huge. And girl, you're going to be doing some work, because it's just who you are. It's your being. It's what you're doing, and it's really, really, really needed.
Oh my God! And see, when I get the kind of compliment that you just paid me and the encouragement and support that you've given me, I'm like, oh my God, how do I take this in? It's so incredibly empowering and supportive and nurturing. And so that's the kind of thing that I drink up, because what you're doing is you're affirming to me that this is the right move to make, that this wasn't just something that I made up. Sometimes when you're following your intuition, there's that sense of, well, am I really doing this, or is this ego?
Well, exactly.
So getting that, it's so life affirming. So thank you so much for your support, for your encouragement, and for your vision, because you're also a visionary. So you see things that, and I've heard from some other women as well that have said exactly that to me, that this is truly something that not only has it taken on a life of its own, but it's something that they see in the future, and that is going places. So thank you for that.
Oh yes, when we're off the air, boy, I can even share more in depth with you that vision. I just had to write a word down as you were talking, something that I'll share with you later. But absolutely, and it's stepping in. When you step into your intuition as opposed to your ego, and you and I, the book that you and I are co-authoring in is called Manifesting in High Heels, and this is going to be my third high heel trilogy of the books. And I'm listening to you, and I'm sitting here in my studio, and we've got my Chris, who's producing the show today. He's more than just my producer. He's my, oh my God, he's my right hand tech brainiac guy. I don't think I could have. I know I couldn't be sitting here at this point and have come this far if I didn't discover Chris when I was on vacation in Jamaica back in January. How ironic is that? Jamaica, I know, but I look at this for myself, Lorna. I look at my radio station. I smile about my radio station. I've had some tears over this station. Chris knows I'm very impatient, and he just knows when to slide that in and pull on back and just say, Kim, in due time, it's, technology. And I'm like, oh, I want it now. But I'll tell you what, that's not ego. And Lorna, you and I are in Manifesting High Heels, and I get to finally write my chapter on how all this manifested, because I found, when I was back in Ireland back in October, I found a couple words around radio show and radio station, and I don't even remember writing that. And oh my God, it's so amazing what we write and what we manifest and give to the universe. How it all how it all shows up. Just how it shows, and that's the same thing with you, Lorna. It's like you and I can meet somewhere right now. Actually, I'll either come to where you're living, or we can go where Chris is living, because you guys are in warm places. It is gloomy and cloudy up here and cool today in Michigan. But, and you could walk into the room, and first of all, number one, Lorna, I would know who you are. And number two, I'd feel your energy around this award. So I want to talk more about this. I want to talk about, I want you to share the name of this award, the summit. Sure. Tell us summit that you are doing and how you chose these women.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is so fascinating to me. The award. So the name of it is the Empowered Women Impact Award Summit. Okay, so Empowered Women. So I was working with Empowered Women before, right? That was my brand, so to speak. And then I was like, okay, so I'm supposed to do an award, but what? What is there needs to be Empowered Women Award, but there needs to be something else in there. And it's like Spirit said, well, global impact, right? You want women who are making a wave globally. You want women who are doing something. We're having an impact globally. And I was like, okay, all right. So Empowered Women Impact Award. We got that. And then I was like, looking around me, and as I looked around me, there are women in my circle that I hadn't honored before or hadn't asked to speak on this Telesummit series before. And my spirit said, okay, here's this woman. And you want me to start naming some names right now?
If you want to, sure, go right ahead.
Yeah, I mean, one of the women is Barbara Schreiner Trudell. She's such a real... she's an incredible light. And Barbara is somebody that when I was getting started as a coach back in 2009, she's one of the first people who interviewed me. Barbara is was the minister, the founding minister of what's the name of the she has a spiritual ministry in Toronto that I got started. I went there for a couple of weeks, and then she had a radio show, interestingly enough, and she asked me if I would be a guest, or I asked her if she would allow me to, and that's how I got my first radio exposure as I was getting started as a coach. So it was just fascinating to me, and she's written a book, and Barbara is just a powerful motivator and an inspiration. And as I thought about her, my spirit said, Barbara, you need to get in touch with Barbara and let her know. And the minute I did, she was like, yes, And her story is so fascinating because she's a woman who, during her teenage years, she was suicidal. And she talked about how in grade 10, what actually prevented her from taking her life was one of her high school teachers, her grade 10 high school teacher, was a woman who started to help her to love herself. She introduced her to some books that got her started on the road to seeing possibility in her life instead of seeing no hope. And she said the only reason she didn't kill herself was because the grade 10 teacher would be disappointed.
Wow.
Isn't that incredible?
Wow.
Yeah.
We all need those people that believe in us in our lives like that, just to give us that smile and give us that warm hug, the pat on the back and the high five, and those loving words to really wake us up and make us shift.
Truly, truly. So this was a woman, and that came out of me asking her, well, who are some of the women that have inspired her? And that woman, that grade 10 teacher, actually became one of her best friends or a dear friend when Barbara was in her 30s. Can you believe that? Isn't that
Wow.
so cool?
That is. That is
Truly.
amazing. That's amazing. I love how the universe works.
Me too. And so Barbara is actually the person who will be starting off our series. She's kicking off the series on Monday, April 7th. She's going to be sharing some of her story of how she moved from being suicidal to living a life of joy, because she's a joy coach at this point in
I
her
love it.
life and an author. And just her story is so powerful. It's so powerful. But I didn't want to give away all of it, but I think I gave away some of it to give people an idea of
Yes.
what they're going to be, what they can look forward to.
Yes.
Yeah, and then there is Valerie Love, and Valerie Love is one of my mentors. And I found Valerie Love last year when I first got to Panama, and I found that as I was attempting to put myself into a new situation here, I started to, I started to have doubts about my money situation. It's a fascinating thing. And what Valerie did for me, because she comes from a financial planning background, but she works with spiritual people. She's got wealthylightworkers.com. And the idea behind the work that she does is she tries to bring the spiritual and the money together. And so she's really helped me to up level where I was financially and to start investing. I had started investing before, but to start investing in things that I truly, truly believe in, companies that I really believe in, and to start having money work more for me than I work for it, that kind of thing. So Valerie is powerful because she's going to get into why it is universal law that if you decide that you want to become a 6 or 7 figure income earner, you're definitely going to see the opposite of what it is that you want before you can actually get to that level. And she's going to talk about how the shadows come up. Now, she is a fascinating woman. She's from a Jehovah's Witness background.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Yeah. And she talks about how she was in her 30s. She was 30 years old or in her 30s after having her second child, when she said she just all of a sudden woke up and said, but whose child, whose husband is this, and who chose this house, and what are these things? And she was actually getting ready to take her life, she said, because she was so despondent and unhappy with her life. And she said, yeah, they said it was postpartum depression, but for her, it was her soul cracking open.
Yep.
It was her soul opening up to the fact that this is not her life. So she made a dramatic change in her life in terms of where she was going, and she moved into spiritual work. She works with the Kabbalah and Tarot and magic, and oh my God, she's incredible, to say the least. I mean, somebody who has actually been able to move from marrying, move from just being, you could say, satisfied with the white picket fence and having the husband and the kids and whatever else the trappings are, and a religion that she had lived in since she was 4 years old, to move to a place where she now, she commands thousands around the world, globally actually, where she teaches you how to connect the spiritual and the material together to have the kind of money that you want in your life.
Oh, nice.
So I had to have her. I absolutely had to. And she was like, immediately she was like, yay, yay. And, she's just been so encouraging and supportive, and she's just amazing. We've got Dr. Shelley. Dr. Shelley, another amazing woman who, she comes from a chiropractic background. And the thing about her is she's always found a way, since she was in her teenage years, she's always found a way to do things. She's always found a way to see possibility where there's no possibility. She said the doctors told her that her kidneys were shot, when she was a teen. And she
Wow.
was like, there's no way my kidneys died. And she said, I think my body is just asking me to give it more water or to give it more love. And she found a way to heal herself as a teen. And she, when she went to chiropractic school, there was something about her having to take how many years to do the program, and she found a way to collapse the program and be the youngest to graduate from her program. She's just done. She's the kind of woman who you would say defies impossible. She's not willing to take anybody's ceiling for what her life ought to be and how it ought to be. So she's always pushed the envelope, and she uses access consciousness questions. And she's going to be talking about the importance of our sexual energy, because that's what she teaches now. She teaches orgasmical medicine and the importance of us women actually getting into our self-pleasuring to create more money, to become more creative in our lives, because she says our womb space, and not just our womb space, our clitoris, as she says, is for self-pleasuring. But as women, we are actually creators in more ways than just to have babies. And so it's important for us to begin to consciously love ourselves, pleasure ourselves, to create more. So I don't want to give it all away, but I think you have a sense of where that's going. It's just really, really powerful and really, really incredible. Who else? Gosh, there's so many of you.
Now you have, Lorna, you chose 11, because there's the number 11. Am I right? 11. Yeah, there's something very special to you for 11.
11 is one of my power numbers.
Yes. Yep.
11 is one of my power numbers. I was born in the 11th month, and a lot of the things around me. I've been working with numerology and various different, spiritual principles, and 11 was the number that came.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So that's why there are 11 of you. And, I just whet your appetite basically for the number of women and what they're going to be talking about. And there's Subhadra Bowman. She's Jamaican, and she's a yoga trainer and humanitarian, who she's gonna she brings a level of edginess to the whole thing. When she and I start talking, we're like girlfriends, and that's also part of the mix as well, right? There's a level of, there's an immediate level of comfort. Even if people are just beginning to talk to me, there's a sense of comfort. And Subhadra is one of the women that I got for the first Telesummit series back in 2010. So we hadn't talked in a bit, and so she gets into a lot about tools that we can use to have an instant injection to begin to transform our lives. Really, really powerful processes. Farhana Dalla is another woman that I had honored back in 2010. She was one of the speakers on the initial Telesummit series, and she's a woman who on Valentine's Day years ago came home and came to find out that her husband was leaving her for another woman, and she was devastated. And she's the mother of 3 children, and she said one of the first thoughts that came to her is, I don't want my kids to be another statistic or for people to feel sorry for them. So what am I going to do? How am I going to handle this? And so out of that was birthed the idea of conscious divorce. And so it's like what has come from that, all of that, as far as Farhana explains it, is that crisis is just knocking on our doors. When crisis knocks on our doors, it's an opportunity for us to expand. It means that spirit, the universe, source, our life has something greater for us. So many of us, when we are faced with divorce or whatever the crisis is, we shrink and we think it's the end. And so what she opens up to us is that there are possibilities there. And if we look at nature, we have an opportunity to see that an ending is always about a new beginning, that it's not the end. So, Farhana is absolutely brilliant. She brings brilliance and wisdom, so people are going to get a chance to hear her. And she shines at that. An ability to see the good in whatever adversity comes your way.
And she has such a beautiful, she's got such a beautiful name too.
Yes.
So Lorna, where can everybody go that is listening to sign up for this, to hear and meet these women that you are honoring and awarding?
Yeah. Well, the place to go to would be to go to lornablake.com. And there is there's a sign up box in the top left corner. It actually says something like, let me see if I get to it so I know exactly where to direct people to. It's, people can't miss it though. Once you sign on to there, you will actually have, that's the first little section in the top left corner. That will give you an opportunity to sign up for this Empowered Women Impact Award Summit, which starts April 7th.
Right, and we've all been sharing it on social media. So for those that are listening, you can go to Facebook and reach out and connect with Lorna Blake, and you can reach out and connect with me, Kim Boudreau Smith, and you can see we have been promoting this on social media. You can always see the post and click on that and go there as well.
That's true.
Reserve your seat.
About that, Kim.
Yeah, you can go there and reserve your seat. I'm surprised you forgot about social media. You are so good with social media.
Well, thank you, Kim.
Yes.
I don't take all the credit for that. I've been tremendously inspired by some people like yourself, I have to say.
Thank you.
Truly. You guys work it. So, yeah, I'm taking notes and doing my part.
Oh, good. Well, you're doing well, Miss Note Taker, and doing your part. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, okay, here's my priceless, unlimited, multi-gazillion dollar question here, and that would be priceless and unlimited. Are you going to do this again, Lorna?
Absolutely.
Yay!
Absolutely. With people like yourself in my corner, I absolutely must. It's imperative. I'm hearing that. I'm really getting that. Truly.
Yes. Yeah. Like I said, you and I have to have a conversation off when we because I've got it keeps coming to me. Of course we're connected, but it just keeps coming to me.
Wow.
Like I said, I wrote down a couple of things. Before we've got still a few more minutes here. I want to come back around when you were talking about the woodpecker. Lorna, do you have Ted Andrews' Animal Medicine book?
I don't have, no.
Oh, you got to get on
but
Amazon.
I can look him up online.
Yep, and purchase Ted Andrews' Animal Medicine book. I keep it; it's at my fingertips. So, like, if Grace, everyone hears me talk about my baby Grace, my almost 3-year-old black lab. I keep saying 2-year-old, and she's going to be 3 next month. I can't believe my baby's going to be 3. When we're out walking, we've had a fox cross our path. Or I remember one day when I walked out the front door, there must have been 10 blue jays. So I go and reach to Ted Andrews, and I open that up, and I see what I look up and see what the messages for the animal medicine is going on. It's a great book to keep on at your fingertips there, Lorna. I really like Ted Andrews and how what he has to say about animal medicine. It's really neat. It's very fascinating.
I appreciate that resource. Thank you so much. I'm looking him up, and I'm going to definitely get something.
So let's, we've got a couple more minutes here. And again, let's come back around and let everybody know, Lorna, how they can get in touch with you.
So the way to get in touch with me is if you are on Facebook, look me up at Lorna M. Blake, and that's a great way to do. My website is Lorna Blake, so you can reach me at lorna@lornablake.com.
Okay.
And on Twitter, I'm Lorna B09, so that's also another way to connect. Let's see what else. Yeah, I think that kind of touches on the different ways to connect, so that there isn't just the one way.
Absolutely. And you do want to get in touch with Lorna, and you do want to grab your seat for her Empowered Women Impact Award Summit, the EWIAS. I just shortened that, Lorna.
That's it. I love it.
EWIAS. I know. I wrote that down here when you were talking. EWIAS. Yeah, the Empowered Women Impact Award Summit. I want to ask you just one more question to wrap this all up.
Absolutely.
What's your golden nugget, if you will, I love the golden nugget, the golden egg, the golden nugget, that you could offer to everybody, not just women, but women and men, even though we are different genders. Everyone listening out there, what is the one thing that you could share with our listeners to take away today on how they can continue to empower themselves?
Yeah, great question, Kim. I love to put my spin on the Gospel of Thomas. And the Gospel of Thomas, with my spin on it, says, if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will heal you and heal the world. But if you don't bring forth what's within you, what you don't bring forth will keep you stuck, and it will also keep the world stuck.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating point to consider. So I encourage each of us, because we are here, we are in a human body, but we are spiritual beings on this human journey. We are source material. We're here to bring forth infinite supply from spirit, from source, from the universe, from life. And so we it's imperative, we're being called on to reach inside for that dream, that burning thing that we all have within us, every single one of us. We're part of that, and there's something in us that we've been brought to this planet to do, to give, to share. And when we bring it forth, oh my God, it inspires, it uplifts, it empowers. And the world is a better place, and we ourselves are healed for it. So I encourage each of us to reach in, reach for that, dust it off, and start sharing it.
Yeah, and do it, steps at a time, and surround yourself with the people that are there that believe in you and that will support you, like Lorna did when she stepped away from her marriage on that one day when she knew her husband would be gone all day. She turned to the woman and the woman's husband to help them, and being up in Canada, to somebody else. You have to surround yourself with the like-minded, supported people that also too bring Lorna, I always say that, we have credentials and we have credentials. The credentials are the undergraduate degrees, the master's degrees. The credentials are our life experiences, and we all have life experiences, like the women, Lorna, that you have been honoring. We all have life experiences that things have happened to us, like yourself, that we have turned around and evolved out of, and have found the light and the positiveness, where we've taken and are making viable businesses out of it to help empower others. So that if they're, God forbid, in that situation, there's something else. There's choice. There's something else. But do not think you can do this alone. You have got to surround yourself with the peeps that believe in you and that can guide you, that can support you, and that can assist you and help you.
Totally. I echo your sentiments right there. Absolutely.
Yeah,
we are doing it together. It's really, there's none of us that are going to make it alone all by ourselves. The lone wolf syndrome doesn't work.
I
It's time
know.
to actually be part of a community. As you shared, Kim, as we're wrapping up, I didn't get into it much, but one of the things that you shared is the importance of becoming accountable and being part of a tribe and a community,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so key. Now, yeah, listeners, you've got to come. I want to let you know that Kim's presentation, Kim talks about becoming the CEO of your SEO. And it's not what you think. So you got to come and find out more about that. I'm not even going to, I'm just teasing that up for you all.
I love you. I love that you're dangling these carrots out there for people to come and listen. And that's exactly, so yeah, absolutely. And then what I want to add to your golden nugget, Lorna, is, you're saying reach in, dust off. I love that. Reach in, dust off, and shine that light, and come on out there. Everybody that is listening, the world is waiting for you. Oh my gosh, the world is waiting for you, and stop holding yourself back. But we're not meant to be solo islands out there. Human beings are not meant to be alone. We're meant to surround ourselves with like-minded individuals that support us and believe in us, like I'm saying, and pull yourself up when you need to be pulled up, and give you a swift kick in the tushy when you need a swift kick in the tushy too as well. Oh boy, do I get some of those from my friends sometime. And I give them too. So, Lorna, thank you so much for being on today. I'm glad we can do this. In fact, while we were talking, I had another idea. What we will have to do after your Impact Awards Summit, your EWIAS, maybe we can get together as many of the 11 women that you awarded, and we can have another show of just us, and we can all talk and showcase you again and showcase all of us. I think we should try and do our best to get all 11 at one place at one time on a radio show.
Oh my God, that sounds amazing. I think women would be really excited and thrilled about that.
Yeah,
I
so
love that idea.
I think
a lot.
I'm going to let you reach out to all of them, and we'll do that. We'll have to pick like a one day where we can all come together. You're talking multiple schedules, but I feel that we can do this, and we'll have another show. We'll have an extra show, and we'll have some fun with it.
Oh my God, you're so amazing, Kim. You're so amazing. And I thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to have this feature show today just to acknowledge the Empowered Women Impact Awards Summit and to acknowledge me. Thank you so, so much. And thank you, Chris.
It's my pleasure, and of course, Chris. Chris wanted to be here, and I was glad that he could, and it was in his schedule as well. But Lorna, thank you for doing this. We need more women like you and I. Where we don't look at as another woman as competition. We look at another woman as collaboration, and that it's like Anita Shreve wrote that book, The Red Tent, is where we're all together in that red tent and lifting everybody up. So I'm going to wrap this up, Lorna. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you for letting me honor you, because like I said, you've been busy honoring a lot of women, so it's your turn.
Absolute pleasure, Kim. Thank you. I feel so very honored. I give you big virtual hugs. I love you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lorna. And I want to give you a round of applause. I hope you can hear that with my hands.
I hear it. And I'm giving you one, giving you and Chris one. Thank you. And thank you, listeners. Bless you.
Thank you. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. This is Kim Boudreaux Smith. You can get in touch with me at kimbsmith.com or boldradiostation.com. We are broadcasting live at the Bold Radio Station. If you are interested and ever had that dream of hosting your own show and you don't want all the stress, mess, bustle, and worries about it, and plus being a technology pro, this is what we do. We provide a 5-star turnkey opportunity for women to voice their voices out there globally through their own radio shows, the experts that they are. So thank you so much. Everyone go make it a great weekend. It was great having you here today.